To age 21 and over tobacco consumers.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game. It is a reaction Monday powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. It is a Titans Monday as the Titans win in miraculous fashion yesterday at Seattle. I woke up yesterday morning thinking the Titans were going to win. Then I saw Jayon Brown was out. I saw Taylor Lewan was out. And I lost my marbles in the pregame show with Mark Howard. And somehow, some way, they found a way to win. We'll have our full reaction. And, of course, that means we'll be taking your calls and everything else as well. But Mike Vrabel set to talk to the media at 2 o'clock today. And I got to tell you, Caroline, I'm a little bummed. And let me tell everybody, by the way, we are live at the golf course of Tennessee out here in Kingston Springs today because it is coaches versus cancer. I saw Philip Fulmer earlier today, Sean Farnham. I hosted He MCs it. I saw him out here today. So last year we raised $230,000 for the American Cancer Society. Mike Vrabel, though, live at the podium.
To build on that going into a division game on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully there's not a challenge. Hopefully it's just to try to continue it and see what it looks like. And, we've talked about, what we want it to be, but you have to go out there and prove it. And you have to, actually put it out on the tape and watch all three phases play that way, complement each other, and doing things to help the team win.
The stick sometimes with the run game with Derek, how patient do you have to be when it's not working for 2-3 quarters to still keep pounding?
Yeah, I mean,
away?
I think that there's a fine line just based on where the game's going, and we felt like we did have time and that we were, doing some really positive things, and it was keeping us, efficient and keeping us out of those third and longers and helping us gain first downs, and so I think it's just a feel, and it's how the game's going and what the situation is. And, it was great that we could answer. And when you hit some big ones like that, like we did, certainly allows you to stay in that mode. So we just kept it close enough. We kept answering, and defensively we played just well enough in the second half to allow us to stick with the run game.
So I was going to follow quick. Do you start to see some signs maybe like on that early in the third quarter? It looked like maybe there was a little bit more daylight than there had been at least in the first half. Do you start to see things like that and say, okay, it's coming?
Yeah, I mean, we always want to avoid, negative plays, and there's a lot of factors that go into it. Mostly it's execution, but working with some of the things that we did and with the silent cadence and the noise, and give them credit, with their run pressures and how they played. But just really proud of our guys with the effort in which they played with in all three phases. And again, it has to be better. We can play better, but that was a big game for us, just the way that we all played in the second half.
What do you like about how Christian Fulton's playing early, and do you see his confidence maybe growing because of it?
I think he's played, well. I think that we had high expectations for Christian and the way that he performed in the offseason and how he performed in training camp. And, confidence is a large part of life and football, and obviously, most importantly, playing corner. You get beat, you come back, you made a mistake, came back, made a play, got us off the field on third down. So those are all really positive things. And, I thought he did a nice job of, not getting into it anything after the whistle. We finally, eliminated some of the dumb stuff that gets you beat. That was, there was a bunch of opportunities for us to do some of those things. And, we stopped short of getting any sort of penalties.
How
Outside of that big play, I think it was a 68-yard touchdown on third down. Pretty much everything else seemed like it was in order. What was clicking for you guys to, have that vast improvement?
Well, I mean, I think we swarmed. I think they played hard. I thought that they, executed the plan on third down. I thought that there was a level of a rush that forced him out of there. And, even on the first one, he took off and scrambled and was short of it. And unfortunate, again, that we had the communication and the breakdown there on the 3rd and 11. But I think the biggest thing is that we have to make them earn everything. It's hard to win, when you give up, 200 yards on 5 plays. I mean, that's, you're lucky. You're really lucky to win that way. But then you have to look at the other, 50 that gained 180. You're playing pretty good defense when you can have 50 snaps that gain 180 yards. We got to get some turnovers, though.
Mike, any clarity with Taylor Lewan at this point? And then also Roger also left the game. Any update on him as well?
No, Roger didn't finish, and obviously Taylor wasn't available. So I think we'll know more as we work our way through the week, and we'll see if we get both of those guys back.
What about Dan Cruikshank? He had, I think it was like 34 snaps, a lot of dime packages. What can you say about his play and how that helped kind of shape things?
Dane needs to, he had some mistakes, and there were some plays he'd like to have back. But, I thought he played fast and showed up. He played with a speed that I think we are looking for. So I think he, did enough to probably earn some more opportunities.
What do you think the guys up front answered the challenge from last week, especially going in, losing the starter, and then, like you said, losing Saffold during the game?
Can't say enough about that group. It's this. That's who we are, man. At the end of the game, they're picking themselves off the ground, and but they battled, they competed. They got us a couple times on some pressures on third down that we have to be better on. But they gave us a chance to win. That unit certainly gave us a chance to win, and Ty stepping in there. That's something that he's done in the past, and then Bruce stepping in there and being in there for Roger. That's kind of what we expect of them, and they did that.
Mike,
a few times
what is it that when the line is kind of patchwork like that Derek seems to run a little stronger, harder? Can you put your finger on anything as to why that seems to work so well?
I don't know. Maybe the guys that are in there, playing hard and trying to get some extra efforts. And I'm not sure if Derek knows the difference, but maybe it's just a good coincidence.
Guys like Michael Pruitt, Jeremy McNichols maybe give you a spark in the game, and how much does that do for a team when you've got guys when they step in and perform like they did?
Well, we did a nice job of hitting some of those check downs that when they took off and got some depth. Ryan was able to find some completions and help us out with a check down, whether that be Derek or Jeremy or Prue.
Times about how teams use speed in the slot a lot more as their slot receiver. Is that something Elijah's getting used to, you think, as well? Is that something he has to adjust to?
I mean, I think that, there's a lot of ways that you can do your job, and I think that he probably has to understand, what his skill set is and what the other player's skill set is, and be able to try to disrupt them and, find different ways to cover them. And, that was one of the big plays, and, we couldn't get him on the ground when he did catch it down the field. That they're going to catch passes and they're going to make some plays. We just have to be able to get them on the ground and limit the X-play touchdown.
Opinion how the non-safety was ruled at the end for progress for the quarterback, and just anything on film that made you think potentially could have been called a game ender?
No. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and debate the officiating. They didn't see it as a safety, and apparently they saw it as in the grasp and called a sack, and that's what it was.
On that last drive, I know you talked yesterday about whether you go for 2 or not. When do you make that call even before you guys get the ball? Do you make it during the drive, or when does that decision take place?
It probably takes place, well before that, when we take possession and just thinking, obviously, here we are, if we get into the drive, right? If we get a first down, you're probably in 4-down territory. If you don't, you're probably going to, punt and try to use, 3 timeouts. Then once you get into the drive, it's, right, we're in 4 down. And then, knowing that, how much time do they have left, and do you feel like, they're going to be able to come back and attempt a field goal or kick a field goal, right? So they get down there low, and we kind of figured that we were going to kick the extra point.
I've got a question from the audience. Corey just wants to know about your team's response to adversity and just what that says about the culture.
Who's this from, Emily?
It's from Corey Curtis.
Oh, I thought you were having it from like a actual fan or somebody. Yeah, I mean, I just think that's kind of who we are, and that's something that we have to embrace. We have to be able to build on the efforts that we played with in the second half, understand what got us to that point, to eliminate those, our ability to take care of the football, our ability to score in the red zone, our ability to get off the field, our ability not to we have to play better in 2 minutes at the end of half. Let them out of bounds 4 times. It's inexcusable not to look over and get the call. All those types of things. But the silver lining is who we want to be, and sometimes what we have been here in the past kind of came to light there in the second half. So hopefully we can build on it. It's my job to show everybody what it is that we can be in that environment with those circumstances there in the second half.
How big is it to have a win like this where you're overcoming so much adversity early on in the season when you inevitably face some adversity down the road?
Yeah, there's always going to be adversity every week. There's going to be something that happens. There's going to be things that come up, situations that come up. You want to try to be as consistent and as calm and controlled as you can be prepared for things, and then allow the players to go play. And I'm just proud of the way that they played in the second half, and at a lot of times in the first half. For us, our ability to put a long drive together. Unfortunately, it ended in a field goal, but there was a lot of great things going on that long drive offensively, defensively. Just have to continue to make them earn it and not hand them things, and then find a way to play better on special teams.
Your team has been pretty successful in tight games during your time here. How much of that can carry over from last year into a game like this, like part of the culture, or how much is it important to establish a win like yesterday to help it carry over into the rest of the
season? I think you probably need them each and every year. I don't think you can go back too long, but I don't think there's much panic. I think that we controlled the situation there at the end, being able to go in there and score, use the clock how we wanted to, have conversations about not rushing, and you don't want to leave a lot of time left for some of these quarterbacks and offenses. So I thought that was handled well. I thought our players understood what we were trying to do. Little conversation there about taking the runoff or using the timeout. So I felt like we all were in unison in how we communicated that situation.
Patience with the Russia game, is that something like you guys discussed that throughout the week? Hey, we're going to do what we're going to do regardless. How does that mindset develop?
Well, not regardless. I don't think you can ever go into a game and predict how it's going to go. You have to be willing to adjust and adapt, and make some changes on the sidelines in all 3 phases. But then there's just a sense that as long as you're in the game and you continue to be positive with it, and hey, we're one away, or maybe there was one missed block, or there was a missed cut, or things that are close. You look like when it's close, you kind of want to stick with it, and when it doesn't look like it's very positive, you kind of got to move on to something else.
With Coach Downing, he has said that he wanted to make sure that your offense is dictating what happens. Is that patience in the rushing attack? Is that a part of that?
Well, it is, and it also goes to set up a lot of the stuff that we're doing. We were able to convert some third downs that now got us into drives that now allowed us to hit a play pass, allowed us to hit, a shot down the field. But, that all is predicated on getting into the drives and trying to set some things up.
What percent of that Pete Carroll had said that they were guarding all day against letting Derrick Henry break one? When it did from you guys' perspective? Like, can you see physically on the other side how it takes the wind out of their sails when that happens?
I think so. When when Derek's able to get to the second level and run past, one of their faster players and one of their better players, it got started. AJ got us into the play. Blocked Adams. He's down there around the line of scrimmage and does such an excellent job. We got everybody covered up. We came back. Julio was able to get a block that, on the backside that, the play's never designed to go there. Just keep asking some of our better players that aren't, involved with, that don't have the football in their hand to be able to help us in other ways. And they did that, most of the time. And, just an outstanding effort by Derek in the run game and a lot of other people.
Improved in the passing game over your seasons, and how much does that allow you to keep him in that much more even than he had before? Well, I guess whether it's pass blocking or receiving.
Yeah, we got it was good that Derek caught all the ones that we threw to him, and really that was allowed us to get usually a first down. We had a lot more on the screen. We got to look at our effort and look what happened there, which we will. But his ability to catch the football and get up north and south and those check down opportunities is good.
Blocker now.
There we go. That's good. All right, that's Mike Vrabel's press conference. Honestly, Vrabel's not in the mood to talk, and I'm not in the mood to listen to Vrabel talk about nothing.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a lot of, we learned our lessons out there. We're going to go focus on Indy, the typical Vrabel answers.
And maybe he's right, he's wrong, I don't know. But, again, Coaches versus Cancer. Today we're at the golf course, the Golf Club of Tennessee, again, where that's going on tonight. Coming up next, we're going to basically start the show up next where I'm going to break it down, my reaction to yesterday's win, because it was good that the Titans won. I'm not sure how the Titans won, given all the dumb things the Titans did. And there's one thing that I took away from yesterday's game that, honestly, we all kind of know, but I don't think we do. So when I get to that coming up next, my initial reaction, your reaction as well. Text line, call 615-737-1025. Stillman and Company, our stream on Twitter, YouTube. You can just pull it up right on the TV. Watch Stillman and Company for Reaction Monday, presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 1025 The Game.
Hang out with us every weekday starting at 6 a.m. with Robbie and Rexroad.
Limping off the field. I can confirm he was limping off the field.
Karen, Donick, and Chase from 10 to 2.
Wouldn't say it deserves a gold star. We want people to play along. This is what's crazy.
And Stillman and Company from 2 to 6.
I want to go last. Can I go last? Sure.
Watch live on Periscope, Twitch, and YouTube. Tune in anytime on the Game Nashville app or your home speaker. This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game.
Hi, guys. It's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of pills? Well, I have breaking news. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most proven form of wave technology available, clinically shown by Cambridge to open up and regrow blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED by treating the root cause, call us now, and not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, we'll also include something unique that produces powerful results in the bedroom. You're going to love that. And to those that call in the next 2 minutes, you'll qualify for an extra treatment free. This is an unheard of value worth hundreds of dollars. Call 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic in the next 2 minutes to qualify for this unprecedented offer. 615-576-5000.
Bring home unstoppable comfort with a new Train heating and cooling system. At Train, we test so it runs. Visit traininfo.com to find your local dealer. It's hard to stop a train.
Hey, Darren McFarland here. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. DraftKings is kicking off another week of action by giving all new customers a can't-miss offer. Listen up. All you have to do is just bet $1 on any football game this week and receive $150 in free bets instantly, no matter what. And this football season, all customers can swing big with the DraftKings same-game parlays. Same-game parlays allow you to combine multiple bets for a bigger payout. This week, place a same-game parlay on any NFL game, and you will be credited up to $25 if your bet loses. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code 1025GAME to receive $150 in free bets instantly when you place a $1 bet on any football game. That code again, 1025-GAME. This week at DraftKings Sportsbook, you must be 21 years of age or older, Tennessee only. Restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
Ever heard of a cold-like virus called RSV? RSV can cause complications in older adults, including pneumonia. The Evergreen study is assessing if an investigational study vaccine can prevent RSV disease caused by a respiratory syncytial virus in older adults. If you're 60 years of age or older, you may be able to join the Evergreen study. Visit clinicalresearchassociates.com/RSV to learn more. That's clinicalresearchassociates.com/RSV.
It's football season, and Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Right now, they're running a tune-up special for one system for only $55. You heard that right. A great tune-up special for only $55. One of the many ways you can save at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. You get 6 months no-interest financing available on repairs. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, locally owned and operated, offering premium service without the premium price. Visit springhillac.com or call them at 615-778-8855.
If you've missed any of today's show, just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
With an overtime win, Bullock from 36 yards away, kick on the way, and it is good! Randy Bullock delivers!
Coming in a hostile environment, last week we didn't play to our standards, which, that was on us. We took full responsibility for that game and, in front of our fans. And, coming way West Coast, like I said, a hostile environment, the fans are relentless, and for this organization, and for this city. And, I don't think nobody expect us to come out here and get a W. But I know we just stuck together, trusting, what we preach and what Coach preaches, how we practice and how we play, that eventually come together for us, and glad to come out here and get a win.
There you go. That was Derrick Henry yesterday. And let me say this. When Randy Bullock made the kick, I was watching the game last night with my dad. When Randy Bullock made the kick, I literally jumped up on the table and put my arms in the air because I was so just ecstatic. I was mentally drained watching that football game yesterday. But here, I'm going to start with my initial take. Normally, this would be the 2 o'clock segment. We played a little bit of Vrabel's press conference, so we're going to start with this. This is my take from yesterday. The Titans had absolutely no business winning yesterday. The Titans did everything wrong. They dropped passes. They fumbled the football. They missed a field goal. They got a roughing the kicker. They busted 2 coverages that led to 14 points for the Seattle Seahawks, including the last touchdown where literally they ran a play which was nobody get back and let the wide receiver run right behind you. A play that Seattle does not even practice. They don't sit there during the week and say, hey, if everybody goes behind the DBs, just let them throw it, it's going to be a touchdown. They never, ever, ever do that. And the Titans screwed everything up. And there was one guy yesterday that just wasn't going to let the Titans lose, and it was Derrick Henry. You all know, if you listen to the show, that I have come up kind of a little bit with an obsession of Michael Jordan. And I'm watching the football game yesterday, and I remember listening to other players like Clyde Drexler, Charles Barkley. They talk about Jordan in the 90s, and they say, Jordan just wouldn't let him lose. No matter what happened, Michael Jordan just wouldn't let the Bulls lose. And I'm watching yesterday, and I'm thinking Derrick Henry will not let the Titans lose. Even in the first half, when he had 40-something yards. I rewatched the first half this morning. Every carry looked like it was going to be -3 in the backfield, and somehow he got 2 or 3. Or somehow he got 4 or 5. And then all of a sudden, those 2 or 3 start becoming 8, and start becoming 7, and start becoming 60 and a touch. And Derrick Henry won that game for the Titans yesterday. He was the one guy who didn't make some kind of mistake, he literally took over the game. Now, Julio Jones had a great game too. But that was like, Tony Kukoc or Dennis Rodman or something like that. Because Derrick Henry was like Michael Jordan yesterday carrying the Titans. Hell, he caught the ball yesterday. He never catches the ball. And Derrick Henry catching the ball out of the backfield was a total game changer for the Titans. So Tannehill played fine. Didn't like the fumble that led to a Seattle touchdown. Julio Jones played well. A.J. Brown dropped the football. Michael Pruitt stepped up, made a play here or there. Defense played up. It's all about Derrick Henry. And this is the question that I think I have to wonder now. How many games are going to be harder to win than that one? On the road, at Seattle, against a high-end quarterback, your starting left tackle, your starting middle linebacker who calls out your defense is out, your starting safety, Amani Hooker, out against a Hall of Fame quarterback. How many more games on the schedule exist that will be this hard? In probably the hardest place to play in the entire NFL. They have not lost a season opener in Seattle since I was in college. Kerry Collins was the starting quarterback of the Titans the last time Seattle lost a home opener. They don't lose in Seattle. They had fans for the first time in a year. They don't lose. And somehow, even after you dropped all those passes A.J. Brown dropped, even after Nick Westbrook-Akina with the dumbest play of the day, Vrabel talks about doing dumb crap that hurts the team, that right there, roughing the punter, stupid. Missing field goals, fumbling the ball. I mean, just busted coverages, awful. And yet Derrick Henry wouldn't let them lose. So when you think about it, and I think about this, and I go, okay, how many games are going to be harder than Seattle? On the road at Seattle, the situation the Titans found themselves in yesterday. I said it on the pregame show. With Taylor Lewan out, knowing that right tackle's a mess, knowing that tight end's a mess, and Ferkser's out, and Jayon Brown's out, and Amani Hooker's out, I'm like, this could be 59-0 at New England bad. How many games are going to be harder? Maybe Kansas City at home. That might be the one game on the schedule that could be harder. Maybe you could argue the Rams in Los Angeles on Sunday Night Football, except Matthew Stafford, Russell Wilson, I'll take Russell Wilson. Harder place to play, Seattle or SoFi Stadium, I'll take Seattle. And somehow the Titans won because of Derrick Henry. And I have to ask the question, can he carry this team to a championship? That's the kind of game you have to win in the playoffs. I've always said this, that if Tannehill is going to win you a Super Bowl, because that's how we always talk about Tannehill. We know he's not the best quarterback. We know he's better than a lot of other quarterbacks, and it could be a lot worse. But the question is always, with Ryan Tannehill, he win you a Super Bowl. And I've said, I think that there comes a point in time with Tannehill where you're going to be down in a game 31-13 in the third quarter, and Ryan Tannehill is going to have to throw you back into that game some way, somehow. I never thought Derrick Henry could run you back in the game, but that's pretty much what happened yesterday. Derrick Henry ran you back into the football game. Even the big plays they hit, the big bomb over the middle early in the game to Julio Jones. Play action with Derrick Henry, linebacker suck up, boom, right over the top to Julio. Derrick Henry is the Michael Jordan of the Tennessee Titans. And I just have to wonder, can he get enough in big games this season against teams like that? Can Derrick Henry get enough help from his supporting cast, from Tannehill, from Julio? If AJ decides he wants to catch the ball, if the defensive line decides they want to play as well as they played in the second quarter yesterday against Seattle, and can they make their field goal? Derrick Henry could carry this team to a championship. I mean, I really thought yesterday, and just watched this game, and I'm looking at Derrick Henry, and I'm like, even on the short runs, the ones where he gained 5 yards, I thought he was going to get hit in the backfield and lose 2. He had a touchdown where he's running to the right. Everybody runs with him. He's like, screw it. Runs to the left, reverses the field for a touchdown. Unbelievable. And I just don't think people understand how lucky we are that we get to watch Derrick Henry do this on almost a bi-weekly basis. Unbelievable. That's my takeaway from the game yesterday. Coaching, now I'm going to give Todd Downing credit because I thought he called a great game. I mean, I thought he called a fantastic game as offensive coordinator. But the coaching, I didn't feel great about it. You know, I didn't think there was anything special there. Tannehill, didn't think there was anything special there. I thought at one point he looked like he was in rhythm. but he fumbles the ball and it leads to a Seattle touchdown. Can't have that. Julio looked pretty good. A.J. Brown looked terrible, so those kind of crossed each other out. They found a tight end in Pruitt who's still a backup, but he's better than what they've been doing. Offensive line held together some way, somehow, even though they almost got the quarterback killed a couple of times. Defense, I will say this. As unwatchable as the Titans' defense was last year, and as unwatchable as the Titans' defense was at certain points yesterday, I mean, you can't have those busted coverages. Like, you're not going to beat anybody doing that ever again. Defense held tough. And they held tough in overtime. They held tough in the third quarter, in the fourth quarter. You know, they allowed that one bad touchdown. But I look at this game and I think Derrick Henry. So, to me, that's all I want to talk about. Derrick Henry. Julio played great, too. Julio had a good game. And I'm going to say this. That was a touchdown. I mean, I don't know how. We live in this world where every color commentator thinks that you've never heard on television another color commentator in any sort of sport now, because it's in all the sports, that you've never heard him say, hey, you have to have indisputable video evidence in order to overturn a call. Well, the Titans won the game, and we're still disputing the Julio Jones touchdown grab. So where I sit, that is clearly disputable evidence, and it should have been a touchdown. I also thought it was a safety at the end of the game, too. But Julio played really well. But to me, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is the Michael Jordan of the Tennessee Titans. And as far as he goes is as far as they're going to go. You know why they lost to the Ravens in the playoffs last year? Because Derrick Henry had 60 yards. That's why they lost. And I think Todd Downing learned a valuable lesson from week 1 to week 2. Doesn't matter if it's 28-0. Give the ball to Derrick Henry, because that's how this team wins. And it doesn't matter if Derrick Henry gets 1 yard here, 1 yard there, 2 yards here, because eventually those 2 yards are going to become 8 yards, and those 7 yards are going to become 65 yards. And my one big takeaway, September football's weird, and, who's good in September is almost never good at the end of the year. But there's not going to be a harder game than that. I don't think so. In that environment, against that quarterback, with your team playing as sloppily as they played. Titans were not good yesterday. Don't make any mistake about it. The things you got to do to win football games, they didn't do. Roughed the punter. Unbelievable. You rough the punter against Russell Wilson, normally he makes you pay for it. You fumble the football inside your own 10-yard line, touchdown, other team. You bust 2 coverages that's 21 points right there. Just gift wrapped to the Seattle Seahawks. 2 busted coverages and the fumble, 21 points given to the Seahawks. You will never have a harder game than that. And Derrick Henry won it for you. It's all about Derrick Henry. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. We'll get your reaction. We'll get Caroline's reaction. We'll get Ian's reaction. Titans win yesterday, and I'm already to tell you, again, the Michael Jordan of the Titans. That was a Michael Jordan performance yesterday from Derrick Henry. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Again, we are live. Coaches versus Cancer today from the Golf Club of Tennessee, where Sean Farnham will MC it. I'll host it. And we've got all these great coaches, all these great basketball coaches from the area here going to raise a lot of money. So coaches versus Cancer. Last year we raised $230,000 for it, and that was a virtual event. Let me tell you about my friends at Edmunds. That's right. Buying a new car can be overwhelming, especially now that demand is back in full swing. Lucky for you, Edmunds has been taking the stress out of car shopping for over 50 years. Edmunds editors drive over 500,000 miles every year, testing thousands of hours on hundreds of new vehicles. They review almost every car on the market and rank the best ones in each category. So you can narrow your search and you can compare options side by side to find the best vehicle for you. When you're ready, my friends at Edmunds make it easy to find options in your area with accurate price estimates. You've got helpful filters they can use. So you want a black car, search black car. You want an SUV, search SUV. You can search color, model, special features, engine type, drivetrain, price, distance, and more. They even show you dealerships that are offering home delivery. Edmunds is here to guide you to your perfect vehicle. Visit Edmunds.com to see the best car rankings and search for vehicles near you. That's EDMUNDS.com. For cars, there's Edmunds.
orchestrate a comeback win in Seattle.
It is good! Randy Bullock delivers!
We're reacting all day to the Titans' first win of the season on Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Darren McFarland here. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. DraftKings is kicking off another week of action by giving all new customers a can't-miss offer. Listen up. All you have to do is just bet $1 on any football game this week and receive $150 in free bets instantly, no matter what. And this football season, all customers can swing big with the DraftKings same-game parlays. Same-game parlays allow you to combine multiple bets for a bigger payout. This week, place a same-game parlay on any NFL game, and you will be credited up to $25 if your bet loses. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code 1025GAME to receive $150 in free bets instantly when you place a $1 bet on any football game. That code again, 1025GAME. This week at DraftKings Sportsbook, you must be 21 years of age or older, Tennessee only. Restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
Get the ultimate mouth guard with affordable coverage from Delta Dental of Tennessee. Offering a large network of dentists and a variety of plans, you'll get better coverage than a defensive secondary. Learn more at deltadentaltn.com.
We can see your smile, and we think you should be able to see it too. With Delta Dental of Tennessee and Delta Vision, we can improve your overall well-being by keeping your teeth and eyes healthy. Visit deltadentaltn.com to find an affordable plan.
The Parker Store at 1909 Nolensville Road in Nashville is the Parker Factory authorized store for your Parker hydraulic, pneumatic, water, and chemical hose needs. They stock metric tubing and hose connections to 42 millimeters in size, and they'll fabricate while you wait up to 6,000 PSI hydraulic hoses in a 2-inch size. Call the Parker Store at 615-248-8245 for all the Parker requirements you have. The Parker Store, 1909 Nolensville Road.
Hey Nashville, Vanderbilt football coach Clark Lee here, inviting you to tune in on ESPN 94.9 every Monday at 6 p.m. for the Commodore Hour, providing you with exclusive insights on Vanderbilt athletics.
Hey Nashville, this is David Price. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Here's Derrick Henry with some nice running. Henry trying to turn it on inside the 30, stays on his feet, and he will go! Derrick Henry, 60 yards!
Michael Jordan of the Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry, the big dog. Ian, can I get a let the big dog eat? Thank you. Derrick Henry, who reportedly the Titans tried to trade in 2018 at the trade deadline, ever since then has been popping in games just like that. Derrick Henry carries the Titans to one of the most improbable victories I can remember in 25 years of watching the Titans. Like, that was improbable. Neil O'Donnell on the road in Jacksonville was pretty improbable. Trying to think. Rob Barones from 60 yards against Indianapolis in 2006 was pretty improbable. This one ranks right up there. Derrick Henry to the house. So, as I said, I think he's the Michael Jordan of the Titans, and he's the one who might have to carry this team. Caroline Fenton, your reaction?
Well, I think, while we're on the subject of Derrick Henry, I think we also have to address that he had a career-high number of receptions in this game. And that's something, if you're going to look at any little smudge on Derrick Henry's resume, it's that he's not a pass catcher. He's a true running back. He does not catch passes. But I think yesterday proved that, look, he's looking to refine his game. He wants to be a complete running back, and I think that we saw that yesterday. But I think you also have to give credit to two more guys on either side of the ball. Julio Jones. He had a good game. You cannot following week one say that the Titans potentially could regret trading for Julio Jones and then, turn a blind eye to what he was able to do yesterday, because the Titans should have had 7 more points on the board because of what Julio Jones did. That was a touchdown.
4. Kicked the field goal.
Okay, yes. But it was definitely
touchdown. That was a great catch.
And he had a great game. And I think you also have to give a ton of credit to Christian Fulton. He was able to get in DK Metcalf's head like no other. That defense, although it's not great, what we were able to see from Christian Fulton, I think, is just a glimpse of what he's going to be capable of for the Tennessee Titans defense.
Here's what I don't like, though, about that. And the reason, like, Fulton was awesome.
He had a great game.
And Julio was good. But I don't think what they did yesterday matters at all if it's not for Derrick Henry. Like, it's like
That's
it's
probably
like
fair.
And I think this is, again, using the Chicago Bulls analogy. Like, Michael couldn't do it by himself. Michael didn't score 100 points in a game to beat Utah, 100 to 99 because Michael had all 100. Like Dennis Rodman had a rebound and Scottie Pippen had to, do everything. And yet Michael was, it was like he's Michael Jordan. And that's how I feel about Derrick Henry. I mean, think about the games that they've won over the years where they've won because of Derrick Henry. Like, they beat the Kansas City Chiefs the year the Chiefs won the Super Bowl in Nashville. Tannehill threw for 181 yards, and they beat the Chiefs because of Derrick Henry. And I keep thinking about this, and I'm like, you're going to have more players step up and play. If not, they're going to put all 11 guys in the box, and every time you try to hand off to Derrick, he's going to get stuffed 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. But I just think that team, the way the Titans were playing, if it wasn't for him, I just think that the Titans would have gone inside the shell. They'd have gotten blown up in the second half. It'd have been 41-13, and everybody would be talking about whether or not Downing's got to go and Bowen's got to go. And because, trust me, everybody was talking about whether or not Downing and Bowen have to go at halftime. And Derrick Henry I just can't get over Derrick Henry. And I almost feel like Christian Fulton had a good game.
Yeah.
But that's not like – I feel like it's almost disrespectful to Derrick discussion with Derrick. Like, to me, like there's Derrick, and then there's everybody else who played well. Denico Autry played well yesterday. Bud Dupree played well yesterday. Like, a lot of guys played well yesterday. But there's Derrick, and there's everybody else. And I think Julio had a great game.
And I don't think it's fair to put Julio in the same conversation as A.J. Brown's performance yesterday, or Christian Fulton's performance in the same conversation as Elijah Molden's performance yesterday.
Well, those are guys that played good. We're talking, those guys played bad.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like,
so we're not putting them in the same conversation.
No. But there's a lot of guys that played really well yesterday, and there was a differing degree of, how well did this guy play? Like, how well did Dane Cruikshank play yesterday? I thought he played okay. But
offensive line looked improved.
But there is, Nate Davis can go. We're going to have to talk about Nate Davis in a little bit. Oh, my God, did he suck. I thought I was watching Chance Warmack out there. But I keep going back to this. I think it is Derrick, and then we talk about everybody else out of that. Just like it was Michael, and then we talk about Scotty and Horace Grant or Tony Kukoc or Dennis Rodman and Steve Kerr and John Paxson. That's great. Michael, Derrick. That's how I felt about Derrick's performance yesterday.
Well, I mean, you mentioned, coming back from the half and just getting, kind of climbing into their shell. And that's kind of exactly what I thought the Titans were going to do. I mean, the Seahawks scored 21 points in the second quarter. And I thought that was, what have we heard so much about this Tennessee Titans team? You got to get going early. Get the momentum moving early, because once they're in a rut, it's incredibly hard to get out of it, especially when you're playing the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. That's an incredibly difficult rut to get out of. And I do think that Derrick Henry was the catalyst in getting that team out of that rut and being able to get things moving. And that goes back to our discussion last week, that Derrick Henry is very much so a leader on this team, that he leads and everyone else follows suit. So Derrick Henry is able to get things moving for the Titans. The Tennessee Titans follow suit.
Oh, I think Derrick decided after last week he's the alpha now.
He is the leader.
Because he did that after the game was over in the locker room. Mm-hmm. The Titans put out a video on Twitter, and Derrick Henry was basically, you could tell, okay, he is the alpha dog around here. Derrick Henry's the alpha. Even his interview after the game. Ian, if you can give me a Derrick Henry clip right here, I'll give you a second. But Derrick Henry doesn't really ever like talking to the media, because I think he kind of views it as like, losers talk and winners work.
And I think he has that same kind of Vrabel Saban mindset of like, talking to the media is just getting in the way of me preparing for the next game.
Yeah, but like I think Vrabel and Saban, I think they use it too. Like they understand that there's a two-way street here. I think Derrick Henry looks at the media like, hey, people that waste their time to be good in front of the camera, They waste their time doing that. I'm going to spend all my time working out. I'm going to spend all my time watching film. I'm going to spend all my time in treatment. And he just doesn't have that kind of personality. In fact, I remember when Mike Mularkey was on the hot seat and they asked him, hey, do you want to say something about your coach? It wasn't, oh, yeah, Coach Mularkey's great or whatever. It was, yeah, we don't listen to outside noise, and just walked off. But listen to Derrick Henry yesterday, because I feel like he realizes, you know what, I got to be the alpha dog in these press conferences if I'm going to be the alpha dog for the team. So here's what Derrick Henry said.
Did anyone talk at halftime, Derrick?
Say it again?
Among the players, anybody saying anything during halftime?
The only person that talked was the head coach.
And the message, you saying basically it's not about saying what the identity is, but showing it?
Yeah, I mean, you can't sit here and talk and not go out there and do. So that's what Coach is talking about. We can talk all we want, but until we go out there and do it, it's just talk. So, we just want to go out there and put it all together. And like I said, happily to get a good win against a great team in a hostile environment.
So it was more kind of Derrick coach talk than I thought. But I felt like Derrick Henry understands. I think this is the one thing that we all have to understand. They can't do this without him. They can't do anything without Derrick Henry. So if this is going to be, remember when we would talk during the Preds playoffs, and you would, read a text. Mm-hmm. And you'd see a text in the text line, and you'd be like, Johnny asked the question about whether or not, if Saros gives up 3 goals today, and I was like, you lose. Once you get to, you lose. You have a playoff game like you did last year against the Baltimore Ravens where they stuffed Derrick Henry, you lose. I've just decided, and I think Todd Downing realized a valuable lesson from week 1 to week 2. And the valuable lesson was, I think he let the game dictate how he was going to use Derrick Henry. And I think now, even though they were down, what was the score at half? 24-9?
I think so.
He decided, I'm not going to let the score dictate how I use Derrick Henry. I'm using Derrick Henry. I just think the only way this team wins is if Derrick Henry is still the focal point of what they do. He doesn't have to run for 180 every single game like he did yesterday. But it almost he has to be effective in every game they play. And I thought yesterday, and I'm not taking anything away from Julio. I'm not taking anything away from Christian Fulton. I'm not taking anything away from Danico Autry. Mm-hmm. I'm not taking anything away from Randy Bullock, who, say a prayer every time the Titans go to kick. But I'm not taking away anything from any of those guys.
I thought it was almost ironic that it felt like Randy Bullock saved the Titans yesterday.
It's really weird how that works. The guy misses a kick, and everybody wants to run him out of town, but then he makes the next one that wins the game. And so
he's
yes.
He's king of Nashville.
Yes. And so that happened there. So, yes. But at the same time, to me, you cannot convince me that Derrick Henry is not. We all know he's a superstar. He's the 4th best player in the league. But you cannot convince me that Derrick Henry did not just win them the hardest game on their schedule. Single-handedly, Derrick Henry leading the team just won what I think is going to be the hardest game of their schedule. 615-737-1025. Now we get to your reaction. 615-737-1025. Like we've done, we'll do the calls first, and we'll get to your text because it is a Reaction Monday. Reaction Monday is powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling here on the program, so we'll get more into that as well. And it is a reminder that, hey, if you're feeling old, and a lot of guys feel old, if you're feeling old and you want to get back to the way you used to felt, you need to talk to my friends at Invigorate Health. Invigorate Health, InvigorateHealthTN.com. You need to talk to them today because maybe what you're missing in your body is a mineral or a vitamin deficiency, and so you get a consultation with them, and they'll tell you exactly what you need. It might be an IV therapy you need. Where they just stick that IV right in there, and it helps increase mental capacity and hydration and getting your body, right and in the shape you need to be, everything else. Maybe it's hormone replacement therapy. Maybe you're missing testosterone. Maybe you're missing something else. They need to get you on, they'll need to get you on a program that will bring back your vitality. Maybe it's the M-Sculpt Neo. You just can't get rid of that belly fat. So what do? They do the non-invasive M-Sculpt Neo, where it burns 30% fat, adds 20% muscle, and it will help that definition. It'll help that belly, your hips, your thighs, your waist, everything. They know exactly what's right for you once they see you, and their doctors and nurses can check you out and say, okay, this is what your body's missing to help you feel young again, to help you lose those pounds that you can't lose, to help you get the energy that you used to have that you don't have anymore. So Invigorate Health, InvigorateHealthTN.com. Check them out. Again, if you're just feeling like, you know what, I just need something, just call my friends at Invigorate Health. Get a consultation in there. Let them get you going. And maybe when they decide, hey, this is what we feel like might be best for you, you say, maybe that's not for me. But guess what? Just give it a try. Because I'm telling you, everybody that goes there feels way better afterwards. InvigorateHealthTN.com. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you. My guys, Invigorate Health, InvigorateHealthTN.com.
From Fox 17 News, this is a Code Red weather alert.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. More rain for us this afternoon and at least early evening before showers taper off. A flash flood watch will remain in effect until 7 p.m.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
When you purchase a certified pre-owned vehicle from Mercedes-Benz of Music City, you have the power of the star backing your car. To meet certification standards, a car has to be less than 6 years old with less than 75,000 miles. All certified vehicles come with 24/7 personal assistance and an extra 12-month unlimited mileage warranty. Right now, you can get 1.99% financing for 36 months on select 2017 to 2019 certified models at Mercedes-Benz of Music City. See more at mbofmc.com.
We're rocking out with the NFL, folks. And FanDuel Sportsbook wants you to get the most out of every play. That's why they're giving everyone a $10 risk-free bet every week. Hey, everybody, Joe Rexrode here to let you know. All you got to do is bet a same-game parlay. 3 legs or more, and if your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. Same-game parlay, hey, great one coming up Monday night. Lions-Packers. You can go Packers money line. I love that one. Rodgers, passing yards. I'd go over there. Do what you want to do with America's #1 sportsbook, which is easy to use, safe and secure, and has fast payout. Nailing a same-game parlay is awesome. Lock it up, and if you don't win, get $10 back. And if you're new, sign up with promo code Joe102. You also get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code Joe102 so they know I sent you. You must be 21 or older in present Tennessee. Refund issued as a non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same-game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile and web. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
Robbie Stanley.
Coming in off the water. Yeah. Coming in there to tailgate.
Joe Rexrode.
That was fun.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is on. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
They give it to Henry. Reverses field. Henry at the 5. Can he get in? He will! What a run! And a touchdown for Derrick Henry.
What a run is right. That was Derrick Henry was so freaking awesome. We'll get to your reactions. I see your phones. We'll go right to them. 615-737-1025. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. I do want to say, somebody texted me and said, is there anybody that disagrees with you that Henry has an important role on the team? The Titans have built a team around him in ways that make him and the team successful. And I saw that and I said, okay, here's the thing, though, that I think I'm not getting home to the people. That I just, after watching yesterday's game, I've just decided this is. When we talk about the Indianapolis Colts of the 2000s, we all recognize that Marvin Harrison was good, and Reggie Wayne was good, and Edgerrin James was good, and Jeff Saturday was good, and Bob Sanders was good, and Tony Dungy was a good coach. But we know why the Colts were good.
Because of Peyton Manning.
Yes. That's what this is. This whole team, all about him. Tannehill's good because of him.
But I think it's easier to say that when you're talking about a quarterback.
Because traditionally, it is a quarterback
That's the leader of your offense.
This is not 1972. I understand that. Mm-hmm. This is how the Titans are going to win. Like, if the Titans are going to win, it's going to be because him. Like, that's like it was about Manning, like it was about Brady, like it was about all these great quarterbacks that we've talked about. He's them on this team. Tannehill is the running back on this team. Where it's like, hey, Edger and James won a rushing title and whatever. Let's go to your phones on Reaction Monday, powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Steven is going to kick us off today. Thank you for waiting. Go ahead, Steven.
I agree with you that Derrick Henry was a big part of the game, but I really felt like this was one of the most team wins that I've seen in a long time. The defense, other than a few major gaffes, and they were major because they pretty much gave a touchdown up every time, they were stifling. They were all over Russell Wilson the entire game for the most part. And then the roughing the punter, that wasn't defense's fault either. And then Tannehill, he threw the ball 40 freaking times and probably would have completed 32 passes if A.J. Brown didn't drop 6 of them. You know what I mean?
Sure.
When can you say Tannehill throws the ball 40 times and we still win the game? I felt like he threw the game open, and then Derrick Henry did Derrick Henry things.
Thank you for your call, Steven. Here's the difference, in my opinion, between a team win and what happened yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
To me, a team win is when you go into a game like that and hey, this is going to be really, really hard, and we don't have any tackles, don't have any tight ends, don't have a middle linebacker that calls out the day. We ain't got anything, guys. And you fake a punt, and somebody who you're not expecting comes up with a big interception that changes the game, and you get your kicker goes out and hits from 54, and Tannehill hits Westbrook-Akina for a touchdown here, and then they knock a ball out there, and they didn't do that yesterday. The team was trying to help them lose. The team played terrible. The Titans, there is no game you can go in and do the dumb things the Titans did. The Titans gave up a touchdown, took a touchdown off the board because Ryan Tannehill couldn't wait for Josh Reynolds to get set. That's inexcusable.
And I think there's also a difference between the rest of the team playing a great game and also the rest of the team just playing better than they played in week 1, because I don't think the ceiling was that high. Yes, Christian Fulton had a great game. Overall, the Titans defense was fine. I don't think it was anything that you're going to write home about. It was better than week 1. It was better than what we saw in 2020. Julio Jones had a great game, very much so better than week 1. But A.J. Brown took a step back, of course, obviously with 6 drops. But, I'm with you. I think that Derrick Henry absolutely, hypothetical game ball to Derrick Henry. But there were other elements at play there. But
David Long Jr. had a great game yesterday.
Yes.
Nobody's talking about David Long Jr. having a great game. The Indianapolis Colts, I keep going back, I'm going to keep using the Colts here as the example. The Indianapolis Colts in the 2000s, Peyton didn't throw the ball to Peyton, and Peyton didn't block for Peyton. And the defense, Bob Sanders played a huge role. When he came back from injury, that was a different team. You can't win in a team sport with one guy. It's not golf. My point is, Derrick is as valuable to this team winning a game like this as Russell is to that team winning a game, as Peyton was to that team, as Brady was to that team. That's how valuable Derrick was. That's not to say nobody else played well, because a lot of people did play well. Michael Pruitt had a good game yesterday. But to say team win, Titans made way too many mistakes for me to look at this and say, hey, good team win, guys. Nate Davis got Tannehill killed on a play. You can't – the Titans left a lot out there yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
That's the crazy thing about this game. You go to Seattle, you're playing Russell Wilson. You give Russell Wilson this much stuff, and you still win the game.
You're also playing against the refs a little bit too.
Oh my God, Hussey's crew. They were
so
awful.
bad.
They were awful. Did you see that one? Did you see that one where they spotted the ball on a 3rd down? They were clearly a yard short. Late in the game, 4th quarter, and they spot the ball, or he's clearly short. He tries to reach it out, he doesn't even get close. And so they spot him short, or they spot him with a 1st down, and Vrabel doesn't challenge it, and Seattle runs to the line, and I'm like, who's watching this game? Oh, Hussey's crew was horrible.
The safety at the end of the game, the safety they didn't call, very obviously
they were afraid
a safety.
To call that. They knew it was a safety. They were afraid to call it. Because if Russell had spun out, fired the ball down the field for a 15-yard completion like we've seen Russell do, they'd have said 15 yards. But they said, no, we called it dead at the 1/2-yard line because, God forbid, we end the game on a safety because we're too afraid to do that. Awful. Let's go to Josh, who's up next here on Stillman & Company. He wants to do a 3-up and 3-down. Josh, just give me a thesis right now. Give me the one thing you liked and one thing you didn't like.
I got you. Okay, no problem, guys. So I couldn't even listen to the radio last week, honestly. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. But this week when I tuned in, I was like, you know what, I want to hear a 3 up and 3 down, and I realized it wasn't going to happen. So I guess I'll give you, my number one for both. The down, the secondary in coverage. I know it's going to take some getting used to with Jackrabbit and Fulton and Molden has gotten burned twice now on spot routes that was kind of pretty bad in both games the first two weeks of the season. And then, the O-line injuries and kind of the unreliability of the O-line is another thing. I think general uncertainty at kicker, at O-line, at safety. I had to freaking look up who number 30 was. I watch the Titans a lot, right? And I'm like, Who the hell is this number 30, right?
Sure.
And so, McDouglas. And it's weird for a hardcore Titans fan who knows most of the roster to have to look up who the heck was playing strong safety. But, and then, the up, obviously Tannehill and Julio finding that connection, I think, was huge. And then the resiliency and the coaching adjustments in the second half was huge. And then I think Henry, the biggest up, Henry showing that he can be a complete back, just him being able to run those little curl routes underneath and just,
So I think we need to, Josh, I appreciate your call. I think we need to differentiate this Derrick Henry catching 5 passes thing. Like, he's not Marshall Faulk. Let's.
He's not a wide receiver.
The key, he's not Alvin Kamara. But the key here is to get Derrick Henry the ball in space, and everybody's I thought Derrick Henry in pass protection yesterday was more impressive than Derrick Henry catching the ball. Because there were a couple where there was a rusher coming, and it was a play-action pass, and Tannehill's stepping up to throw the ball, and Derrick Henry, I thought Derrick Henry, meets that rusher right there and keeps him out of Tannehill's face. Because that's more important, because you can't be on the field if you can't pass protect. Nobody's worried about Derrick Henry catching the ball. What Derrick did yesterday is you get scared of him anytime he gets the ball in space. Well, if he can pass protect, then he can be on the field on 3rd and 7. And if he can pass protect, then you're dropping guys back to the sticks. You throw it to Derrick short. I think every coach in the league is scared to death of Derrick Henry getting the ball and turning around with space to run because he's going to pick up the 3 yards to get you a first down. That is Derrick catching the ball for me. That's the important part of that. This idea that, Derrick Henry went out there and, now all of a sudden, hey, watch out.
He's not going to be catching 60-yard passes.
Yeah, no, he is not Christian McCaffrey.
But just being able to see Derrick Henry catch the ball and be utilized a little bit more in the passing game, I think is encouraging.
Reaction Monday continues with more of your reaction. We're right back to your phone. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We're live at the Golf Club of Tennessee. Once again, Coaches versus Cancer tonight. Really looking forward to raising another $230,000, maybe even more, for the American Cancer Society. ESPN 94.9 is the official English radio home of the Nashville Soccer Club. Listen in this Wednesday as Nashville SC takes on Miami. Pregame at 6:15. The match begins at 6:30.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Fiero Tequila Habanero is for those who enjoy the flavor of spice, naturally infused with fresh, vine ripened peppers from farmers in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. Fiero Tequila Habanero is unapologetically the spiciest infused tequila available in the U.S. The hand-picked habaneros provide a delicious kick to the smooth Blanco tequila. It's a flavor punch that's perfect as a shot or a spicy way to spice up your hard seltzer, or perfect for a fiery cocktail. Available at fine liquor stores and your favorite drinking establishments. Fiero Tequila, the world belongs to the brave.
Hey, this is Jared, the owner of MTGRT.com. If your mortgage rate is not in the 2s, then you need to call me now. We are locking in clients in the 2s with no closing costs. That's right, you heard it right. Locking in clients in the 2s with no closing costs. Text me on my personal cell at 615-969-2257 or fill out a few pieces of information on our website, MTGRT.com. MTGRT.com is the proud sponsor of Paul Feinbaum, heard on ESPN 94.9.
It's football season, and Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. If your AC or heater is old and inefficient, you can replace it with up to 60 months no monthly interest financing for qualified buyers. That's right, 60 months no monthly interest financing for qualified buyers. One of the many ways you can save at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They offer 6 months no interest financing available on repairs. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, offering premium service without the premium price. Visit springhillac.com or call them at 615-778-8855.
312 Pizza Company is family-owned and operated, bringing you a slice of Chicago to Nashville. 312 Pizza Company specializes in deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, and all things Chicago style. And always made from scratch using secret family recipes passed down generation to generation. 312 Pizza is open 7 days a week and located in Germantown with dine-in, takeout, and curbside available. Call 615-730-7888 to order 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
Mark Howard here to tell you about my friends at Apple Collision Centers. We all know being in a collision is not fun. Neither is all the stress that comes with it, and that's where Apple Collision comes in. Let them take care of everything for you. That's insurance, repair, and your rental details. They've got 3 convenient locations in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Their managers, Tommy Rippey, Daniel Neville, and Chris Brooks and Marty Denson, combined for over 75 years experience. So stop in today and tell them Mark sent you. Online at applecollisioncenters.com.
MTSU football returns to Floyd Stadium October 2nd for the annual Blackout game against the Thundering Herd of Marshall. Kickoff at 6 p.m. The official Blackout ticket t-shirt package on sale now for just $15. Floyd Stadium provides guaranteed fun for fans of all ages with the Blue Raider Beer Garden featuring Steel Barrel Brewery, the Family Fun Zone offering inflatables, carnival games, and an ice cream station. Get tickets at goblueraiders.com/tickets and enter promo code Blackout2021. Go Blue Raiders.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, live from the Golf Club of Tennessee, where today we've got the Coaches versus Cancer event. Think the golf's going to get canceled, though. Reaction Monday is powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. It is a Titans Monday, and you can watch us streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube every day. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. I don't usually do this at 3 o'clock, but it is a Reaction Monday, and it is a Titans Monday. So,
to the phones.
To the phones we go. 615-737-1025. Your reaction from yesterday's game. And just restarting my reaction, Derrick Henry is the Michael Jordan of the Titans. He is the Peyton Manning of the Titans. He is the Tom Brady of the Titans. He is the Babe Ruth of the Titans. He is the – who else is a great team player that just dominated because he was so freaking good?
He is the Derek Jeter of the Titans.
Yeah, Jeter was never really like that, though.
You said Babe Ruth.
Yeah, see, Babe was, a bad boy.
Yeah,
he was the Shohei Ohtani of the Tennessee Titans.
There we go.
That team stinks, but that's my takeaway. Derrick Henry is the man. Michael, our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Michael, going to kick us off this hour. Thank you for calling. Go ahead.
How you doing?
Good. Go ahead.
Listen, I think the penalties played more of a factor in that game. It was a lot of penalties called. Henry, I like him. LeJuan, I think he got a target on his back. I think he needs to stay off the internet. I sit back and listen. Thank you.
Thank you for the call. So I have a couple of theories on all of that. First of all, I don't think the penalties were more important than Derrick Henry. I'm not saying penalties didn't play a factor, and I'm not saying that I thought John Hussey's crew yesterday, and I think John Hussey is one of the best officials in the NFL. And his crew yesterday was absolute dog crap.
It was awful. It wasn't just the penalties. It was the missed calls. It was the bad calls. I feel like the Titans and the Seahawks both equally were playing against the refs.
You know when we talk about, players playing scared?
Uh-huh.
I thought they ref scared yesterday. DK Metcalf takes Christian Fulton into the bench, and I'm yelling. I'm like, do not punch back, because I'm watching what DK's doing to Fulton, and I'm like, oh my goodness gracious.
Ironically enough, as he has blue hair, because he likes to stay cool-headed.
Cool head, yeah.
Yeah, cool head, but
and
let me swing at the defensive back covering me.
And I'm just like, don't, because they always see the second guy. So I'm like, don't. And Fulton, he was holding up his own, but I didn't see, and you didn't get a good camera shot of it, but I didn't see Fulton, do anything back to DK. I'm like, good. And I'm sitting there thinking, because it was a holding that the Titans declined, and I'm like, they should have thrown the flag on that and said after the play, personal foul 14, and it still should have moved back 15 yards. So I thought the officiating yesterday was horrendous. I don't think that it was more of a factor in the game than Derrick Henry. The Taylor Lewan thing, and I'm sure we'll talk a lot about Taylor Lewan throughout the week. I said this on Friday. I'm done listening to Taylor Lewan talk. I'm done listening to, did you hear Taylor Lewan's podcast when he talked? I don't care. And I don't care about what Taylor Lewan says at a press conference, and I don't care what Taylor Lewan says at Twitter. I do think the Titans have a social media problem right now. Like, too many players are on it too much. Lewan, I think, is on it too much. I think the caller's right, and that's the other one. That's the other one, where I think that the social media is screwing up A.J. Brown right now.
Well, did you see his tweet right after the game? Like,
can't put it down. Put the phone down.
That's my thing is, if I am out there and I drop 6 balls and I have a bad game, and there's no way around that, I think the last thing that I would want to do is pick up my phone and tweet about it.
They can't turn it off.
That's concerning.
It's
incredibly concerning because it's fine, whatever, if you want to use it as a tool at your disposal, if you want to use it as a tool to interact with fans. But you cannot interact with fans if there are no fans to interact with. What happens on the field is why you have interaction on social media. So I'm sick of it.
So now you're sick of it because Friday you were like, when I said about Taylor Lewan, you were like, oh, that kind of sounds like telling him to, just shut up and play. And I was like,
well, no, because I have no problem with players having social media, having their own podcast, having anything outside of football. You should have that. You very much so should. You should set yourself up for success after football. But it's looking like it's a trend with the guys who are on Twitter and the guys who don't really play well. That's where I have a problem, when it starts to get in the middle of your play.
I think AJ, and I don't know AJ, I think AJ's got to get off Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of basketball, where those guys are just addicted to the Instagram.
Kevin Durant.
I think AJ's got to get off Twitter. I do. And I'm not saying it. I think, with all things in life, if somebody ate too many donuts and they got fat, wouldn't we say, hey, you know what, they got to cut the donuts out?
Probably.
Okay. Well,
I mean, that's
Twitter,
that's a little bit more of a direct reaction, eating donuts and getting fat.
Right.
They're going to be like, what do you mean? No, being on Twitter has nothing to do with my play.
But yes,
Twitter
it does. Is screwing you up, then you got to get off the Twitter.
Yeah.
Let's go to Jason, who's up next here on a Reaction Monday powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Go ahead, Jason.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Good show today. I am a Nashville resident, but a lifelong Seattle Seahawks fan. I get the NFL Sunday ticket every year. I haven't missed a Seahawks game in 20 years, easily.
Sure.
So I'm a little salty today. Obviously, my reaction is a little bit different than most of the people in town. I don't understand how the Titans, in week 1 in front of their home fans, decided to just lay down for the Arizona Cardinals. But they come up to my team's place, and it's clear eyes, full heart, can't lose, Coach. You know what I mean? But all credit where credit is due. I have seen so many games in front of that crowd, and the 12s take a lot of pride in their crowd noise, where teams get very confused, and they always cause off, false start penalties, or the quarterback has to call a timeout because he can't get everybody on the same page, and the play clock is running down. I think I was most impressed by the Titans yesterday's ability to navigate that. I don't think the crowd had any impact on them whatsoever. I mean, 2 years without fans in the stands, and they were rocking yesterday, without a doubt. And it just did not seem to affect the Titans in any way whatsoever. So I think that was the key component to the game for them to being able to stay focused.
Thank you for your call, Jason. Are you surprised by that? I mean, when the team gets going and they do then you kind of don't think about it much when you're watching it on TV.
Right.
But, I mean, I think somebody, I forget who it was, tweeted out yesterday and said that the press box was shaking, that it was so loud in Seattle yesterday. And, I mean, we saw I think the one thing the Titans did that they practiced, and clearly they did it, was they broke the huddle pretty early because Tannehill was going up to everybody on certain plays to make sure whatever it was he was trying to tell them, was a factor. I was surprised that it didn't feel like the crowd changed the game whatsoever.
I think it absolutely has the ability to. I think it very much so can't change a game. If you are getting flustered or getting in your head, you can't call out the right plays. You can't communicate it. I think it very much so has the ability to change a game. But it's tough to kind of gauge that when you're watching it on TV. But it didn't seem like it.
Let's get back to your phones next. 615-737-1025. There is something Mike Vrabel did yesterday that I didn't think he was going to do, and that I am almost beside myself in a good way that he did. I cannot believe Vrabel did it. I want to get to that next, but then, of course, we're right back to your phones. 615-737-1025. Calls and texts. We'll hit them both. 615-737-1025. Let me tell you about my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. The NFL is back and kicking, and FanDuel Sportsbook wants to get you the most out of every play. That's why they're giving everybody a $10 risk-free bet every single week. All you have to do is bet a same-game parlay with 3 legs or more, and if your first bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. Tonight, Green Bay versus the Lions. I think Aaron Rodgers, if he's got any heart, we'll see it tonight. So I'd probably bet some overs on passing yards and points, plus the Lions are terrible, so I'd probably hit it that way. There's no feeling like nailing the same-game parlay, so look at your bet on today right here for the FanDuel Sportsbook app. If you're new to FanDuel, Sportsbook, you can sign up using the promo code JGM to also receive a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code JGM so they know that I sent you. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile web. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Hang out with us every weekday starting at 6 a.m. with Robbie and Rexroad.
I really am. You gotta be. I mean, I just totally am. You've gotta be.
Darren, Donick, and Chase from 10 to 2.
Good participation.
We have a system now, thank goodness.
I had a funny moment happen.
And Stillman and Company from 2 to 6.
I have a story.
Get a cupcake.
Watch live on Periscope, Twitch, and YouTube. Tune in anytime on the Game Nashville app or your home speaker. This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game.
Staples is evolving to Staples Connect, a new world of possible. With innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore what's new at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Creating the finest award-winning tequila means starting with the best ingredients. Camarena Tequila is 250 years in the making from Arandas, Jalisco, Mexico. You see, at Camarena, they wait for their 100% blue Weber agave to reach maturity before harvesting each and every plant by hand. This allows them to consistently produce one of the smoothest and best-tasting tequilas in the world. Experience Camarena Tequila today, available at a fine liquor store near you. Camarena Tequila is the official tequila for the Nashville Soccer Club.
I come from a military family.
That's Stasha at Genesis Diamonds talking about the Hero Rewards program at Genesis, providing special discounts every day for heroes in uniform.
Whatever their budget is, we're going to make sure it stretches the best for them and that they will get the most beautiful ring at the best value.
Special hero pricing on any item extends to all military plus police, fire, and first responders.
They make us have the great life we have, and we are eternally grateful for that.
Genesis Hero Rewards program and free services is yours for life, no matter where you move.
Travel anywhere in the world, we're one phone call away. So no matter where you're stationed, if you're military or if you're a police officer and you go to another state, we're going to take good care of you.
Of course, it doesn't hurt that Genesis owner Boaz Ramon is himself a veteran of the Israeli Army.
Boaz, having served in the military, appreciates the military and what they do for us.
Genesis Diamonds, where our heroes in uniform get red carpet pricing and white glove treatment every day of the year.
We're there for them because they're there for us.
Genesis Diamonds, continuously voted best jewelry store and best place to buy an engagement ring. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Zines First is the official sign company for 1025 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
MTSU football returns to Floyd Stadium October 2nd for the annual blackout game against the Thundering Herd of Marshall. Kickoff at 6 p.m. The official blackout ticket t-shirt package on sale now for just $15. Floyd Stadium provides guaranteed fun for fans of all ages with the Blue Raider Beer Garden featuring Steel Barrel Brewery, the Family Fun Zone offering inflatables, carnival games, and an ice cream station. Get tickets at GoBlueRaiders.com/tickets and enter promo code Blackout2021. Go Blue Raiders.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Tannehill in the shotgun. Handoff, Henry, and he's in
were there, and all of a sudden it is a 1-point game, and Mike Vrabel had a decision to make. And let me say this, and I know I've told this story on the air. I think I've told you this story. But 3 years ago, I was with my dad in London at Wembley Stadium, and the Titans down a touchdown, got the ball, similar scenario, and I'm watching the game, minding my own business, and I turned to my dad, and I used some words that you can't say on the radio, and I said, if this mother coach goes for two, if this guy goes for two, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my mind. And I said it before the drive. And he went for two, and they tried to throw the ball to Taywan Taylor, and they lost the game to the Chargers, where, outside of a couple of busted coverages, they had played pretty well, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Sound familiar? So yesterday, they're getting the ball, they're going, and they are just moving it. And the defense looks good, and they score the touchdown, and I'm thinking, please, Lord, kick. Please kick the field goal. Whatever you do, just kick the ball, Mike, please. And I knew he wasn't going to. Like, I knew Randy
You thought
Bullock,
he was going to go for two?
Oh, yeah. Randy Bullock gave him the out. By missing the 44-yard kick, it was kind of like, well, I couldn't trust him to go out there and miss this PAT, so I'm going to put the offense out. And he kicked it. And Vrabel was talking about it after the game. Here's what Vrabel said about his decision to not go for two.
Did you ever consider going for two at the end of it? You know what? You always go back and forth, and we've been through there before, and I just felt like the way that the defense was playing. I felt like the way we just decided early on, that was what we were going to do as far as kicking it.
Oh, I hear that, and I think to myself, my baby's all grown up.
That's growth.
Because
that is growth right there.
3 years ago, Vrabel and Ian, I think you remember this. Like, he wanted to be Johnny Go For It. He wanted to show his guys, I believe in you. And he did it by going for it on every fourth down possible. It didn't work in the Miami game early in the season, but it worked against the Eagles, and everyone thought, oh, yeah, Coach believes in us. Then he did it against the Chargers, and it didn't work. And I was like, please, Mike, whatever you do, kick the extra point. And unlike the time in London where it was like, we're going to be a team that goes for the win, instead of that, which was stupid, this was, you're just feeling it, how the game goes, and as the game goes, that's what you want, and that's what I want. That's what I want. And I felt like, hey, the defense had held tough against Russell, and yeah, okay, you lose the toss, Russell goes down and scores a touchdown, you lose, okay, I'm willing to lose that way. What I'm not willing to lose on is a pass to Taywan Taylor in the end zone against a Charger team that you've been moving the ball all over the second half. And I'm not okay with, because you're giving yourself one chance. Because the way Derek had been running the ball, you could have turned around and handed it to him on a 2-point conversion, and he might have gotten it because he had been running the ball so well in the second half. But you're giving yourself one chance. And I didn't like that. I honestly didn't even care if they lost the toss, because I'm like, all right, defense can get the ball back, and then you turn around, and now all you need is a field goal, and you just hand it off to Derek, and those guys were so tired. That Seattle defense was so winded in that game because the Titans, Derek beat them up, and I'm like, they're not going to be able to stop Derrick Henry here. So I couldn't believe Vrabel did it. I could not believe he did it. But he did it. 615-737-1025. Let's go to the text line. By the way, this Wednesday, it's your chance to participate in the Nashville SC Pick to Claim Wednesday at 9:45. What do we have in the text line?
Well, we have several texts and comments on the stream calling us P-Pops and Boomers about our take on social media. And I just feel like we need to defend that a little bit, because I have no problem with players being on social media, being active on social media, having podcasts. I don't care. Whatever you want to do, that's fine. It's when you stop performing on the field, because there was a texter that said, oh, I don't hear you complaining about A.J. Brown's social media when he has a 100-yard game. Yeah, because there's not an issue there. If you're in school and you get A+ on all your tests and you're on TikTok all day, that's fine, because as long as something's working, it's working.
Sure.
But if you're failing your calculus test and you're on your phone all day, maybe you take the phone away and see if that changes anything. So if A.J. Brown goes out and has a 100-yard game and he's tweeting the whole game, sure, go for it. That's what helps you. But if it's not working, then there's got to be some sort of factor.
I read Rover's book, Michael Jordan's trainer, Kobe Bryant's trainer.
I'm reading that book now.
And one of the things in there that he says is, I can tell you all you need to know about the effects of alcohol on the body or smoking pot or things like that. But if you feel like you need to go to that party and stay out late, if you feel like you need to smoke that weed, if you feel like you need to have that drink, that's fine. But if it starts affecting your performance, then we have to talk. And that's how I feel about social media. I mean, I wish I used it less. You know, in December, January, like I didn't use Instagram really at all. Like I deleted it off my phone. Like I didn't check it. I didn't and I was in, and I'll be honest with the audience here, I was in like a really just how I felt. Like because of, I think I can tell people now, like Floyd left and it just had like an effect on me and I was really depressed about it for a long time. And I just I can't look at Instagram. I got to get off it. I just got to get my own, whatever. And I did. And when I did that, I think I was probably happier than when I was on Instagram all the time. Now, if it affects my radio performance, then it's got to go. If anything affects my radio performance, it's got to go. It's got to go. And that's the thing about social media. And I think Taylor Lewan is an example of this, which is Taylor has a very, he seeks attention, which most offensive linemen don't do. And I'm not going to be one to say an offensive lineman shouldn't seek attention. Do whatever you want. But when you don't play well, and then you go seeking attention, and then you don't play, it's just going to get people more mad. Like, nobody's mad at Roger Saffold today. Because Roger Saffold doesn't ever, grab attention and, look at me. Lewan does. People are mad at Lewan. They're not mad at Saffold. They're mad at Lewan. Lewan didn't try to get hurt yesterday in the warm-ups, but it's just the way people feel. It's like, oh, yeah, there we go. All right.
After all that talk, after all that tweeting.
Yes. And I think other teams look at it and they're like, I think other teams look at it and like, let's go shut that guy up. I think that's part of it too. What else we got in the text line?
Speaking of Taylor Lewan, a texter texts into the text line and says, do the Titans play better without Lewan?
So I'm not going to go there. Just like I'm not going to say that they play better without Jayon Brown or they play better without Amani Hooker.
It's too small of a sample size.
I think Lewan, there is a legitimate sample size because he's missed half the games over the last 2 years, 3 years now. Here's my thing, though, and I'll say this about Saffold, too. If I'm paying you $14 million and I can win without you, then I'm not going to pay you $14, $15 million anymore. And I think that that's kind of where the Titans are with Lewan. If the season were to end today, I think the Titans owe Lewan like $1 million against the cap if they cut him next year. But he's due to make like $14.9 million. So you're talking about saving 13 and change if you release Taylor Lewan at the end of the year. I don't think you'd have any choice but to release Taylor Lewan if the season ended today because you can't rely on him. And the one thing that bothers me about the Titans roster as is constructed right now is John Robinson is relying on too many guys that are not dependable. And being available for injury is part of dependability. They are paying Roger Saffold a fortune. And what we saw yesterday, Roger Saffold goes down, trainers come out, goes off for a little bit, comes back in the game, gets hurt again, has to go out, might have to miss a game or not. That's what Roger Saffold was last year, too. That's not dependable. Derrick Henry is dependable. Kevin Byard is dependable. That's how you win in this league, is guys you can count on. Vrabel was such a great player under Bill Belichick, not because he had, was a great athlete, not because he was, super big and strong, but because they could depend on him. And that's how Belichick built that whole program, guys you could depend on. And when you look around here at the guys that have been successful of late, Tannehill you can depend on. And Ben Jones you can depend on. And Jeffrey Simmons, Jarrell Casey, Logan Ryan, those are guys you can all depend on. And that's something that I get worried about when it comes to Lewan, and I also get worried about when it comes to Jayon Brown. Because Jayon Brown separates his shoulder and doesn't play in the Patriots or Ravens playoff games 2 years ago, and they won those. breaks his elbow last year, and I felt really bad because that was a cheap shot, but breaks his elbow last year and doesn't play in the back end of the rest of the season, and then Jayon Brown out with a hamstring injury, and it's like, dude, Jayon, you went to the market this year, thought you were going to get paid and didn't, and it's because people can't pay you if they can't depend on you. And I worried about this yesterday with Bud Dupree. How much can you depend on Bud Dupree coming off of an injury? Now, here's where I'll give Bud credit. I thought Bud was very impactful in yesterday's game. Mm-hmm. But I go back to the whole thing with these guys making a lot of money. If I can't depend on you, I can't pay you a lot of money. And I think that's the way that I feel about Lewan as far as the question of, are the Titans better with or without Taylor Lewan? I'm sure they're better with him, and I'm sure he would have played better had he not gotten hurt in warm-ups than he played in week 1. But I can't pay you all this money if I can't count on you. What's next?
Another texter texts in and says the fact that the Titans had only one false start penalty in that environment was just one example that Vrabel clearly had them ready to play. Aside from the 2 blown coverages, they were disciplined.
No, because they roughed the punter.
Oh, that was so dumb.
Yeah, I mean,
so dumb.
I think that the roughing the punter is just like that dumb crap, Vrabel said last week about Julio Jones that hurts the team. I think that's what that was. I mean, the Titans, do you know the penalty that really got me? I mean, the roughing the punters.
That was so stupid.
But do you know the one that really got me?
Which one?
The one where Tannehill didn't wait for Josh Reynolds to get set.
Yeah.
That one really got me because you're driving the ball, you're at the 3-yard line. And Derrick Henry, and you need a touchdown there, and people are going to blame Josh Reynolds because the penalty was on him because he was running. But it's the quarterback's job to make sure everybody's set. And so that, to me, that was Tannehill's fault. But those are you can't win with that. Like, you cannot win with those penalties. Chris Jackson with his hands all over Lockett in the end zone, that's one I'm okay with taking. I don't like it, but I get it. But the idea of like, oh, yeah, Vrabel had them ready to play because they were disciplined. They were down 24-9 at the half. So, discipline. Elijah Molden gets burned, tries to recover, and runs into Bradley McDougall. And all of a sudden, it's a touchdown. That's not discipline. That's not ready to go.
That was so bad.
I will say this. I said this after week 1, and I stand by it. Molden's not ready. Like, he's not ready to play in the NFL. He's not ready to play at that level. And they took him out of the game yesterday. And I think they realized, okay, we want him to be our slot guy. We drafted him to be our slot guy. We need Elijah Molden out there. And I think they realized, okay, we can't do this. Like, we got to put Chris Jackson in. Got to put somebody else in. They took Bradley McDougall out as well because they're like, okay, we thought this practice squad guy, we can't take him out. And I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. Like, I am okay with taking that guy out of the game in that situation because ultimately you can't win making those kind of mistakes. But this idea of like, hey, Vrabel had those boys ready to go, I still keep thinking that it was Derrick Henry saying, all right, everybody get him back. Like the old line of, hey, get on Superman's cape. And I think that's what the offensive line had an okay game because it wasn't as bad as the last one. But did you see the sack?
That was my point earlier. It was just because it was improved from week 1 doesn't mean it's necessarily fixed or saved or perfect. 3rd and goal, Titans have Tannehill in the shotgun, and Nate Davis just doesn't block Bobby Wagner, and he just annihilates Tannehill. Mm-hmm. Like, this is Tannehill
where
got rocked.
This is where we have to stop, like, saying after any sort of win of any kind, like, oh, everybody was the team showed us there were a lot of guys didn't play well. Molden didn't play well. A.J. Brown didn't play well. Jeff Swaim, who freaking sucks, didn't play well. Nate Davis didn't play well. Bradley McDougall didn't play well. You roughed a punter. You missed a kick. Here's another question I have, by the way. And I mean this with all sincerity. When do the Titans ever plan on doing something like returning a punt?
Chester Rogers could not return a kick or a punt to save his life.
Like, I'm not saying...
Was it like 10 yards?
Like
average?
Ryan texted me yesterday and said, when's the last time the Titans blocked a punt? Because, I think Ackerman, the special teams coach, has to go.
Yeah.
And I have said that. How long have I been saying that for, Ian? I mean, clearly it's fallen on deaf ears, but I feel like I can't even count the years I've been saying Ackerman's got to go.
Yeah. It's been a few.
I mean, he's got to go. And I don't understand why Vrabel and those guys don't understand. Like, dude, you get nothing out of special teams. You use draft picks on special teams players. You sign guys to contracts to be special teams aces, and you get nothing out of it ever. And they just keep sending Craig Ackerman back out there. Craig Ackerman is stealing money as the special teams coach of the Titans. I cannot state this enough. How many times, like yesterday, you want to just throw the remote because you roughed the punter for no reason?
Did he think he was going to block it? And I was like, what? What are you doing?
Did he think he was going to block it?
I don't know what he was thinking.
So he's got to go. He's got to go. And this week it was Westbrook-Akina. But next week it'll be like the time against the Jags when Cam Batson took a knee in the end zone. Or, all kinds of crazy stuff that the Titans have done over the years on special teams that never gets punished because the special teams coach must be boys with Vrabel, and Vrabel don't want to get rid of him. But I'd fire that guy so freaking fast. I am so tired. And the other part about it is, I go back to Ryan saying, when's the last time the Titans blocked a punt? I said, when's the last time they returned a punt? I mean, they can't even do the basic stuff. So that gets me all worked up. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. People are trying to – cold take's not the right word. I listened to the morning show, and they were talking about, so does Jared regret saying last week whether or not the Titans regret trading for Julio after Julio's game? And I will answer that question next. Reaction Monday is powered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. It is a Titans Monday live from the Golf Club of Tennessee, where once again today, coaches versus cancer. All the Tennessee basketball coaches are out here, and we are going to be raising a lot of money for coaches versus cancer. Join ESPN 1025 The Game tonight at Jonathan's Grill in Mount Juliet, 613 South Mount Juliet Road for Monday Night Football. Grab some game swag, and they'll have your chance to win tickets to an upcoming Vanderbilt football game. Stillman and Company, it's ESPN 1025 The Game.
Henry at the 5, getting it in. He will. What a run and a touchdown.
King Henry and the Titans orchestrate a comeback win in Seattle.
It is good. Randy Bullock delivers.
We're reacting all day to the Titans' first win of the season on Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's soccer season in Tennessee. You want goals?
He takes it inside, outside, right foot. Great finish. What a goal.
You want saves?
Lifted high, into the hands of Joe Willis. He makes the catch.
You want big drama?
Hooked in, it headed in. Delirium. It's Yonder Cadiz.
Nashville SC are back at home Wednesday, September 29th versus Orlando City SC. The action kicks off at 7:30 p.m. Tickets on sale now at NashvilleSC.com.
How'd you like that?
Are you a father that is passionate about your fundamental constitutional right to parent your own child or children? Has your parenting time or your income been affected by COVID? This is Amanda J. Gentry, and I am a fierce defender of your constitutional rights. The courts in Tennessee are under an obligation to maximize equal parenting time. We do not live in an every other weekend world anymore. At the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, fathers are extremely important, much like my own father was. Go to AmandaJGentry.com or call or text 615-604-6263. That's AmandaJGentry.com.
Listen up, sports bettors. This is Hall of Famer Warren Sapp here to tell you about my favorite sports book, BetUS.com. I only endorse one sports book, and that's BetUS.com. Just like me, BetUS is the Hall of Famer of online betting with more than 25 years in the biz. Call today, and they will get you set up faster than I can run the 40. I play at BetUS, and so should you. BetUS.com.
Use code GAME for a sign-up bonus.
Tell them Sapp sent you.
More machines, more savings, and more muscle. Only with John Deere construction equipment from Meade Tractor. Hit the heavy jobs harder with our Own It offer and get special financing on select models. New, used, or rent, we have the right equipment and technology solution for you with the affordable financing you need. Contact us today at our Nashville location or go online at MeadeTractor.com.
Offer valid on qualified purchases and new equipment made between now through October 31st, 2021. Subject to approved installment credit with John Deere Financial for commercial use only. Down payment may be required. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Your home value is way up this year, and with mortgage rates back to all-time lows, it's a great time to call Loan Pronto. Refinance now and get cash out of your home's equity. Hey, it's Willie Donick. Loan Pronto can refinance your loan at a super low rate. They can pay the closing costs for you and get you a bunch of cash out. How does $40,000 or $50,000 sound? Don't just sit on that home's new value. Use it. Use it to pay off credit cards. Use it to consolidate other debt. Get rid of PMI. Use IT to make your home even more valuable with that home improvement project you've been dreaming about. Loan Pronto's all-digital platform makes it fast and easy. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call Loan Pronto now, 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Ask about the Loan Pronto zero-cost cash-out refi. LoanPronto.com, 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Zero cost option not available on all loans.
Here they come, turn 4.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe. Every Saturday morning at 9, we hit the big topics. The Ally 400, Kyle Busch, frustrated, Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, and talk to the big names.
I'll go ahead and blame you.
Oh, I think it's big.
Could go a lot of different directions right now.
I was so impressed.
How cool that's going to be.
It's Chasing Checkers, Saturday morning at 9 on ESPN 1025 The Game and wherever you get your podcast.
Hey Nashville, this is new Vanderbilt head coach Jerry Stackhouse. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Tannehill surveying the scene, looking end zone, caught! Julio Jones! Touchdown!
So Gene's point about the heel and the toe having to be in bounds, once the toe initiates the contact, that the heel has to come down in bounds.
After review, the receiver's heel came out of bounds, touchdown out of bounds. As a result, it's an incomplete pass.
I don't know how they came to that conclusion yesterday. I could not believe that. I mean, every time you watch a game, college, pro, basketball, baseball, football, hockey, they always say you need indisputable visual evidence or video evidence or whatever they want to say every time. And I don't know how you could look at that play yesterday and say that it was indisputable that Julio's foot was out of bounds. And I'm not even going to try to get into the whole, the toe was down so you can toe drag, but you can't. The whole foot comes down and the whole foot has to be. I'm not going to get into that because I don't know what a catch is in the NFL. I don't know, what. That would be like saying, hey, Jared, do you know what's in that protein shake? No, not really. And I don't know do you know how they prepared that salad that you're eating right there? No, I don't.
Still going to eat it.
And do you know what a catch is in the NFL? No, I do not. I have no idea what a catch is in the NFL. And sometimes I just think they make it up as they go along.
Probably.
So I thought it was a touchdown. And I thought it should have stayed a touchdown.
Yes.
And I now think that it is more likely than not that Julio's foot was in the end zone and that was a touchdown. But that's not what I want to discuss. So Robbie and Rexroad this morning were like, yeah, how does Jared feel now after wondering if the Titans regretted the Julio Jones trade last week? So I'm going to address this one time.
Okay.
Julio has to pay what he owes every week. This is not Julio had a great game, it was a great trade. He doesn't get paid $15 million for 1 week. This has to be something that, gets into the repertoire where you can count on Julio like you counted on him yesterday in almost every game you play. Now, he's not going to go out there, and I don't have the stats off the top of my head. He's not going to have that performance every game. And I don't expect him to have that kind of performance. But what he can't have is he can't do dumb stuff to hurt the team.
Mm-hmm.
And he can't have the Corey Davis disappearing act games where all of a sudden, it's a big Sunday night game against Green Bay. Where's Corey? No catches. Playoffs against the Ravens. Where's Corey? No catches. Corey had a game last year. I thought that this game was a lot like a game the Titans played on the road in Baltimore, where they got down and then they came back and Derrick Henry was a beast in the second half and they won the game in overtime. And Corey Davis, that might have been the best game he played last year. I mean, Corey Davis was awesome. Flash forward to the playoffs, Corey Davis doesn't have a catch. That is what will define this, whether or not this was a good trade. Because the Titans didn't make this trade. This isn't a free agent signing. The Titans made this trade and invested a lot of their cap in on Julio Jones. What they had set aside probably to go get a tight end, whether it was a Zach Ertz or somebody in the trade market, whatever they set aside, they skipped over in order to go sign Julio. And they sent a second-round pick to Atlanta that, well, second-round pick, I mean, could be Christian Fulton, who actually looks pretty good, unlike Dylan Radins, who looks, can't even get on the field.
Well, this time in Christian Fulton's rookie season, he probably resembled Dylan Radins now more than he resembles Christian Fulton now.
No, he's hurt. Like, he had played.
Yes.
And then he got hurt.
Yeah.
Radins doesn't play.
Okay.
So there's a big difference there.
Okay.
I mean, the level of, oh, my God, what's going on with Radins is
But
that's
the
legit.
level of what they are able to contribute to this team.
Sure. And, being hurt is, but it just, I mean, this has to be more than just this week. I mean, this is before I even, and then all of us, because now everything Julio does, and I don't understand why the national media, I understand why the national media doesn't cover the Titans. I get that. I'm not concerned about that. But, like, what Vrabel said last week, I didn't even think was that big of a deal. And everybody, Stephen A. Smith and Keyshawn Johnson are screaming about it. And I didn't even think it was that big of a deal. But so what it made me realize is they're going to treat Julio like he's a bigger star than Derrick Henry. He's not. Derrick Henry might go for 2,000 yards again this season. And I say this, that all that's going to come up is, well, we heard that in Atlanta when things weren't going well. Well, it's so if he can go the season and is not a distraction off the field, and he can go the season where when you need him, you can count on him, then, yeah, they won't regret it. But as of right now, I have a hard time saying, like, yes, Julio is the man, and the Titans are that was the best trade ever. Now, I'll say this. He has done more now officially than both Carl Pickens and Clowney did in their careers as members of the Titans.
There you go. That's something. It's not a lot, but it's something. But the reason why I agree with you this week is the exact reason why I did not agree with you on your Julio take last week. It was because you're saying now, yes, Julio had a great game in week 2, but we need to see more from him to know that he is more so week 2 than he is week 1. We need to see him contributing every week. It's not just a one-week thing. And that's exactly why I disagreed with you after the Cardinals game. Was because I said, okay, that's one bad game. If Julio has 16 good games and one bad one, that's fine. That's overall very much so net positive. So, yes, I'm with you that I need to see more from Julio before I can say, wow, great job, John Robinson. That was a great trade, which is why last week I wasn't going to say it was a bad trade. You need more games.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We're back to your calls. Add that to the kitty as well. We're breaking down yesterday's game. Stillman and Company Reaction Monday is delivered by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. It is a Titans Monday as we are live at the Golf Club of Tennessee, once again all the way out in Kingston Springs, where coaches versus cancer tonight. Hopefully we can raise a bunch of money there. By the way, our stream, which you can see on Twitter and YouTube and Twitch, so you can just go to YouTube and just pull it right up right there. Twitch and Twitter is presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. The end.
From Fox 17 News, this is a Code Red weather alert.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. More rain for us this afternoon and at least early evening before showers taper off. The flash flood watch will remain in effect until 7 p.m.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Staples is evolving to Staples Connect, a new world of possible. With innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore what's new at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
Bob's Steak and Chop House is a renowned award-winning steakhouse in major cities across the U.S. Nashville is lucky to have a location here in downtown at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Fine dining is brought to a new level at Bob's with awards like the Wine Spectator Award 4 years in a row, TripAdvisor Certificate of Excellence 5 years in a row, and Open Tables Diner's Choice Award 6 years in a row. Fine dining at its best. Bob's Steak and Chop House, open Wednesday through Saturday, 5 to 10 p.m. in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Complimentary valet parking is always available.
It's football season, and Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Right now, they're running a tune-up special for one system for only $55. You heard that right. A great tune-up special for only $55. One of the many ways you can save at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. You get 6 months no-interest financing available on repairs. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, locally owned and operated, offering premium service without the premium price. Visit springhillac.com or call them at 615-778-8855.
Hey, Darren McFarland here, and let me tell you about my friends at Curation CBD. If you're like me and have aches and pains all over your body and you've been searching for a solution, well, I've got it. It's Curation CBD. Curation means healing, and that right there says it all. Curation is locally and organically sourced CBD products right here from Middle Tennessee. From seed to final sell, Curation is passionate about providing quality products for everyday use for athletes and for pets too. Order yours now at CurationCompany.com. Curation CBD, curated for life.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required, actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey is the official whiskey of the NFL pregame broadcast on ESPN 1025 The Game. Screwball is the original and most awarded peanut butter whiskey in the world. Made with real whiskey, peanuts, and peanut butter, Screwball is all natural flavor to be enjoyed as a straight shot, in an espresso martini, peanut butter old fashioned, or a PB&J shot with a berry liqueur. Check out screwballwhiskey.com/recipes for more. Be sure and ask for Screwball by name at your favorite watering hole in Nashville.
Enjoy responsibly. 2021 Screwball Spirits LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Darren McFarland.
And a mulligan that we all look for in golf. Lord knows our game could use it.
Willie Donick.
Outworked and outperformed a lot of other really good players.
Chase McCabe.
I want some sort of trade protection.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curation CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
8 targets, 6 receptions for Julio Jones. That connection seemed to be coming. What was it about? You guys really clicked that deep pass, especially. What was clicking for you?
Yeah, he made some huge plays, obviously. The big one, I don't know if that was the first one or not, but, saw something on the sideline, made the adjustment, told him about it, and it paid off. He got open down the field, and then was running, was able to hit him there. A couple big plays. The one that got called back was a huge play. That's a play that we expected to be completed later, further across the field. But I was getting hit, so got the ball out early there, and he was able to make the adjustment and go up. Obviously, a blade of grass away from a touchdown there. A couple big third down catches. I think of one early where he's on an in cut and threw the ball high. It was pretty covered, but threw the ball where he could go up and get it, and he attacked the football, came down with it. So. Once I saw him make that play, I felt like, he was rolling, and it was going to be a good day for him.
That was an incredible catch by Julio Jones, where he went down to the ground and the ball popped up, and it almost like you could see the Seattle DB was fighting, and if the Seattle DB gets the ball, that's an interception. Right. And I just thought, a fantastic play by Julio Jones. He had a great game. The key question here is, what will it look like if they get him and AJ going in the same game? That's the question. And I don't know the answer to that. Let's go to your phone, 615-737-1025. Cedric, it's always good to hear from. Thank you for calling the show. Go ahead, Cedric.
Man, last week, y'all, it was doom and gloom, and I spoke for me and the GM, man. Listen, dog, King, did you see what King Midas did last week? Yesterday, did you see what he did? I mean, he's getting hit, 6 hits in the first half. King Midas kept his cool. He kept his composure, led the Titans, which is what a true leader does. Went in there, talked to the OC, man, said, this is what we need to do to get back in the game, man. King Midas, Ryan Tannehill, is the best quarterback in the league. I don't want to hear about Patrick Mahomes or any of them other cats, man. We got the best quarterback in the league. The Titans went to Seattle, did what they wanted to do.
Cedric, who's the number one reason? If you had to say somebody was the number one reason that the Titans won yesterday, who would you say that number one person is?
Ryan Tannehill.
See, I can't go there.
He's all either.
I just can't. I'm not going there. I think hey, Cedric, I'm going to say this. I think Ryan Tannehill is the Scottie Pippen of the Tennessee Titans.
Hey, well, Michael Jordan never won a championship without Scottie Pippen, so that's all I'm going to say, man.
No, and I don't think Derrick Henry can win a title without Ryan Tannehill. I don't think he can.
Of course.
But
I think we go
I
to
think
Seattle.
that your love for Tannehill, and I love Tannehill too, not as much as you. I think your love for Tannehill, and I appreciate your call, Cedric. Your love for Tannehill is overshadowing the fact that Derrick Henry was the best player on the field yesterday. And I don't mean this in like a Tannehill was bad yesterday, because I don't think that. But Derrick Henry was the best player on the field. Now, what do you think of Tannehill yesterday?
I mean, I don't think Tannehill really necessarily did anything that was outstanding. I don't think he did anything that cost the Titans the game. I mean, Ryan Tannehill is a game manager, and I don't mean that with any disrespect. And that's exactly what he did yesterday.
He did throw for 340.
Yeah, no, yeah. He put up a ton of yardage. He did have a fumble. I mean, he had a good game. It wasn't anything that completely stood out to me. He made the plays he was supposed to play. He had a good game.
I do wonder how we feel about Ryan Tannehill if A.J. Brown catches the ball. Because that first A.J. Brown drop is probably like a 45-yard gain. Mm-hmm. So you add that in there, and then what happens? I thought Tannehill was good yesterday. That's the kind you can win with that performance from Tannehill. Now he's got to stop fumbling the ball.
Yeah.
And all this stuff about, what was Tannehill supposed to do? They killed him. He's got to hold on to the ball. Like, that's what Tannehill has to do. He has to hold on to the ball. Well, but Jared, nope, don't want to hear about it. He's got to hold the ball. Did you see that one replay yesterday where Derrick